untold sum of money is connected to you and is being circulated on the world market. You need to proclaim and declare your nationality more. There are websites whereby you can go to gain further information about declaring, if that's what you want to do. One of the websites is rvbaypublications.com. That's one website. Another website is www.moorishamericanconsulate.org. They're going to give you, information on how to claim your nationality. But let's get back to this. As a consequence, they say two separate identities are created. The corporate shell account, the one pledged as security, is the straw man to which sovereign citizens refer, and in their view is separate and distinct from their true flesh and blood identity, which is true. In sovereign citizens' view, the government-controlled and enslaved straw man is evidenced by documents showing the person's name in all capital letters, birth certificates, social security cards, driver's license, tax forms, etc. Therefore represent only the shell corporate identity, the straw man, because they are written in all caps. Now, if you check on your bills and what have you, you will find your name written in all caps on them. Most credit cards have your name written in all caps on them. You feel me? Middle and all. You feel me? Every document is a contract. Birth certificate, social security card, driver's license, marriage license, mortgage. When you sign up to get lights, water, gas. In your house, did I say mortgage? Loans, car loan, student loan, traffic ticket, all these things, contracts, all these things are big contracts for the corporate entity. These are certificates that they can begin to circulate on the world market to make more money. And it's still attached to you, but you don't have any access to it. These people are acting as trustees over your benefits, but I wouldn't say, I'm not advocating rushing out to rescind your birth certificate and social security number and go to this Manchurian Asian banking system and set up some kind of trust over there to start receiving funds for that. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is stepping into your proper person. Impropria persona, sui juris. You feel me? Being present, competent, and accounted for. I am Samuel Monte Young-Bey. I know who my ancestors are, who my foremothers and forefathers were, and are. The Moors, the ancient Moabites, the keepers of the ancient knowledge of Kemet and the world. You feel me? And all ancient wisdom. The keepers, the stewards of said information, the knowledges, the establishers of all. I know who I am, you feel me? So that is where we need to be, within and then on documentation, you feel me? I just want to show you what a nationality card looks like. One should always want to be in their proper person. You feel me? Not in any other way. You feel me? Freehold by birthright, primogeniture and inheritance. Aboriginal, Native American, heirs of North America, national people of the land. Divine law, United States Code of Law, Title 22, Chapter 2, Section 141. Of a general and permanent character, not taxed. AA 222141. We're going to read that too. AA 22141. Constitution, that is the Moorish Zodiac Constitution. Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3, treaties. Did a series on treaties. So, you feel me? And the Moorish Zodiac Constitution is our Constitution. But, Claim nationality. That's what I say. Claim nationality, dog. A sovereign citizen avoids inadvertent subjection to this false government and avoids being mistaken for a federal citizen by signing documents in a certain manner, for example, by identifying oneself as John Doe, capital J, lowercase o-h-n, Doe, capital D, lowercase o-e, executive trustee for the private contract trust known as John Doe, all caps, or by identifying oneself as executor for the straw man, or using a copyright symbol with the name and saying John Doe, one cap on each word, capital J, capital D, John Doe, secured party, authorized representative, attorney, in fact, in behalf of, all caps, John Doe, copyright, or interspersing colons or hyphens or other odd punctuation in the name, or using the prefix noble or the suffix bey or el-bey with one's name, and so on. Now, in the treaties, I read a treaty of peace and was it amity or commerce with the United States and the Bay and the something I can't remember, the Tripoli of Barbary or something like that. I can't remember specifically at this present juncture, but I read one. Anyway, this Bey and Noble Bey and El Bey, they are trying to intermingle us within this sovereign citizen. But once again, we Moors are not sovereign citizens. We are just sovereign. We are not a citizen of the United States. We are sovereign. We are nationals of the nation of America, Al Morocco, Amexum. You feel me? This is our nation. We're sovereign to the land. We're not sovereign citizens. Therefore, Noble, Bey, El Bey, Ali, Al, none of these things will resonate for a sovereign citizen, because there's no such thing as a sovereign citizen. To further avoid inadvertent submission to the false government, the sovereign citizen may use red ink, add thumbprints to documents, put the zip code in brackets, or say near as part of the address. There is innumerable varieties of this queer view of the law, but all are intended by the sovereign citizen to make sure you know you are no longer dealing with the enslaved straw man or a federal citizen with limited rights. You know you now have the real common law, flesh and blood sovereign citizen in front of you. All of those things are true though. That's a great thing. All of those things are true, and the only part of that is false is that it's connected to being a sovereign citizen, and it's not for a sovereign citizen. It's only for a sovereign. Sovereign citizen can exercise the. How can you be sovereign to the land but a citizen, which means under the authority and jurisdiction of the corporation at the same time? It's an oxymoron, okay? We're not gonna play these games. And they call it this queer view of the law. That is crazy. It's a queer view of the law. That's bogus. Sovereign citizens' view about the straw man and the treasury account also help explain their fascination with the Uniform Commercial Code. They tend to believe that by filing a UCC financing statement, they can establish their superior right to the treasury account. Having established such a right, they then can create bonds which they tender to creditors as payment for their debts. As they read the UCC, if the creditor wrongly refuses to accept this tender, the sovereign debtor is discharged from any responsibility. There are various other UCC schemes as well that involve security agreements, hold harmless agreements, birth certificate bonds, and various UCC forms. This is also accurate, and if they do not respond in the allotted time, it's basically a done deal, over, end of discussion. It's facts, because they have an allotted time to act and they have an allotted time to not act, or I should say they have an allotted time to respond and an allotted time to not respond. If they don't respond within the allotted time, then that is as if they are saying you're right. You feel me? And instead of come out and just verbally say you're right for the record so that everybody will know, they'll just not say anything at all and not do anything at all. But it is still upon you to push the paperwork. So you need to know these UCC codes, these Uniform Commercial Code. You need to know these statutes because if you apply them to yourself, even currently, you will reap a reward. And the more you do this and use this, they have what is called, what did I do with the book? Oh, I put it over there. They have what is called a do not bother list, or, like a do not mess with this guy list, or this person, not noun, but verb. Do not mess with them because they don't want to go through the headache and then the potential exposure of, really, they don't want to go through the exposure of the truth. Why expose the truth when I can just easily sweep it under the rug? That's the game plan, sweep it under the rug, not expose it. Again, the beliefs and practices can vary considerably from group to group and person to person, but once you are familiar with the ideas above, you are more likely to realize you are dealing with a sovereign citizen. And this is why when Moors, sovereigns, start dealing with these policy enforcers who are militia groups, actually, you feel me, trespassing and trying to force them to do XYZ, the very first thing they want to holler out their mouth is, oh, you're a sovereign citizen. No, wrong. Not just a sovereign, because a sovereign citizen is under your jurisdiction, and I'm not under your jurisdiction. A sovereign citizen named Fred Jones may say, I am agent of Fred Jones, to inform you that he is not the corporate entity strawman Fred Jones, all cap, and thus is beyond the court's jurisdiction. Sovereign citizens may want to bring their own court reporters to court proceedings. There will be talk about common law, about admiralty law, and about oath of office. A sovereign citizen may carry a copy of Black's Law Dictionary as a reference or resource for their common law views. This is funny. For those who identify themselves as Moorish nation or something similar, there also is belief that in 1787 treaty fictitious between the United States and Morocco grants them immunity from U.S. law. I did videos on the treaties, so this is funny, bro. It's funny reading this. It's funny reading this when I just recently recorded the videos for the treaties. And we went over the treaty of 1787 between the United States and Morocco. It's crazy. Oh my God.
Perceived notions in the oceans of your mind. This shit is goldfish. Matching you will find that I'm in. Deadliest the seven sins. Meliodas with the pen. Dragon whips his tail again. Bring this ocean to an end. Nigga, you will never win. Bruce Lee with the shit, sway of the intercepting fist.
Okay, immunity from U.S. law. Some may claim to occupy United Nations Indigenous Peoples seat 212, 215. There is no such thing, and create their own birth certificates and passports in addition to driver's license and vehicle registrations. The right to travel card, it's not a driver's license because you don't need a license to drive. You cannot take a privilege or liberty, and you can't take a liberty, a right, and turn it into a privilege and then license it and charge fees for it. Can't. Supreme Court. UCC, bro. USC. These rulings are these rulings are official. And I just showed you the United Nations Declaration of the Rights of the Indigenous People. So we ain't even go there with the you feel me. It's a lot of you feel me going on. It's a lot of innuendo going on. How they try, and they specifically named Moorish nation or something similar. Don't worry about it, it's crazy. Anyway, sovereign citizens tend to believe in squatters' rights and have been known to move into houses that have been foreclosed or abandoned. They will fix up the place and have utilities turned on. Then will file documents they believe confirm their new ownership of the property. A sovereign citizen. They're talking about allodial titles. A sovereign citizen cannot write an allodial title because you cannot be a citizen and a sovereign at the same time. Therefore, you cannot be over the jurisdiction and under the jurisdiction at the same time. The only one who has the rights to write an allodial title is a sovereign, because they're the only Americans here. And then they're trying to say squatters, like people can squat, and people have squatted. I've seen videos of a guy that he didn't even fix up the crib or put in the utilities, and he squatted in on a house that was worth like $500,000, somewhere around there, and the neighbors had seen him and they started complaining, but by the time it was too late because he had already went to City Hall and gave them the $24 for the document. They got it filled out and the property became oh my God, it was so funny. And he wasn't even claiming his nationality. He knew the statutes, he knew the codes, you feel me? And so he just used them to his benefit. And he actually said that the video was on a news report. It was a news report. They were mad. The Caucasoids were mad because this indigenous man, even though he wasn't claiming his nationality, this indigenous brother was educated enough. I wouldn't even say educated enough. He was intelligent enough to acquire the information necessary, which allowed him to procure this $500,000 property in this beautiful community where he shouldn't be. That's crazy bars, Loki. The point to remember is that whatever circuitous or illogical route they take to get there, there is no point in trying to find a consistency or irrational pattern in the beliefs. Sovereign citizens reject the current federal, state, and local governments and consider themselves outside their authority. Ironically enough, at the same time, they file paper after paper with the very courts whose legitimacy they deny, seeking to vindicate their common law rights. Now, this is the crazy thing, okay? If I'm going to have knowledge of universal commercial codes and U.S. Supreme Court rulings, why? Well, one, I'm going to have the Supreme Court rulings because we established the Supreme Court per the Constitution as the highest court whereby matters can be adjudicated. Secondly, on a nation-to-nation standing, like government to governmental standing, you feel me? So now pushing that paperwork is not for legitimacy. Pushing the paperwork is to make notice on the record and for the record. You push that paperwork to make notice for the record so that it's a public record stating that, oh, this person actually did do this, because they don't want anybody else to know that these things are actually going down. So they're going to say you are pushing these paperwork to these felonious groups or whatever that you say felonious for the validity of it. It's not for the validity of nothing. I want to know Moors, sovereigns, not sovereign citizens, but sovereign. I want to know what happens when you go in there. Is this a court of public record? Is this a court of record? Okay, now I pushed the paperwork already to tell you X, Y, Z. So why is you even bugging with me? You feel me? You don't even gotta go there, but just the fact that per your structured system establishment, I followed those guidelines in agreement with the treaties that I wouldn't just randomly violate your shit just because here you go, my boy, bang, bang. Now, what's going on? Is this a constitutional court? Is this a court of record? Yeah, I'm gonna go to the magistrate and I'm gonna go to the sheriff at the county court and get it popping at the court of record, the common law court. And then we're gonna get you to expose yourself. So when I come back and hit you with these liens or these lawsuits, you feel me? It's gonna be documentation to justify my actions. I'm not trying to, you feel me? I'm not trying to ruffle your feathers. I'm just trying to get that for which is mine. Ironically enough, at the same time, they filed paper after paper with the very courts whose legitimacy they did not, seeking to vindicate their common law rights. White supremacist organizations such as the Aryan Nation may embrace sovereign citizen ideology as well. So too may freemen and related groups. Organizations such as the North Carolina American Republic in the Mooresville area, the Embassy of Heaven, Aware Group, and Carolina Liberty also sometimes are listed as sovereign citizens, but at least some of them say they are different. The North Carolina American Republic, for example, distinguishes itself as believing it is the real sovereign state of North Carolina, rejecting the notion of separate sovereign rights for individuals. Their particular fantasy is that the state government put in place by the Reconstruction Act is invalid and that they have reinstated the legitimate government of the state. Accordingly, the North Carolina American Republic has named its own governor, legislature, etc. It's a different route than the one followed by sovereign citizens, but leads to the same self-serving conclusion that the established state institutions do not have jurisdiction over them. There you see the plethora of groups that are in and organizations that are in North Carolina. There is a great and urgent desire to mask, cover up, and add layers of deception on top of that for which is true, so that the truth seems a mystery, therefore far-fetched, not real at all. And they're claiming all this as sovereign citizens, which once again is bogus, completely bogus. You cannot be a sovereign and a citizen at the same time. It is impossible, you feel me? Not all sovereign citizens affiliate with any particular organization. Individuals may access sovereign citizen theory and documents easily through the internet, and not surprisingly, there are many number of vendors of driver's license tags, pleadings, and other papers who are glad to sell their wares to anyone who sees in them a means to be free from traffic tickets, debts, taxes, and other government obligations. Now this is true, and these people are allowed to thrive, and their information is allowed to be funneled and filtered throughout the internet successfully. The actual algorithm will pick up their information and shoot it out there as far and as wide as it can go, so that it can be viewed as conspiracy theory. They will send the successful court hearings, and then they will send the court hearings where these people are crushed and devastated right behind, so that you will see and know that, oh, it works sometimes and sometimes it doesn't work. I don't need to deal with something that works sometimes and doesn't work sometimes, but does work sometimes. It's just stupid. The point is, they're not sovereigns. They're sovereign citizens, which means they're still citizens, which means they're still under the jurisdiction of the said place that they are in, peoples that they are trying to claim they should be free from. Cannot be a sovereign citizen. Cannot. It's impossible. One cannot be a sovereign citizen at all. That's crazy. It's crazy to think about this stuff like that. It's wild. Identification. Sovereign citizens may drive vehicles, which they will call conveyances, with odd license tags and registration documents. They are called conveyances per the law. The license tag might say Republic of North Carolina or something along those lines, or Kingdom of Heaven, or Washita Nation, or Washita Trustee, or a variation of those or the other organizational names mentioned above. A common license tag and registration will say More Republic, MU apostrophe UR Republic, all caps, and have a United Nations symbol with the words Indigenous National or something similar. Also look for words like private registry. Sovereign citizens also tend to put gold stickers on documents and use multiple notary stamps. Sovereign citizens typically carry their own unique driver's license and Just as with the vehicle tags, the driver's license may be issued in the name of the Washita Nation, North Carolina, American Republic, or whatever particular sect the person has chosen. Some groups issue what appears to be a passport from a foreign government, but on close examination, the issuer is the Moor Republic or ISIS, Abenaki Aboriginal Nation, or other make-believe government. One common fact in much sovereign citizen identification, particularly for blacks, is inclusion of Bey or L-Bey in the person's name, such as John Doe L-Bey. So you have Moors and you have people that are pretending to be Moor, who are trying to just usurp nobility. You cannot claim your Moorish nationality to try to escape from crimes committed. The treaties already cover the fact that if you commit a crime and you harm, if a Moor kills or harms or damages physical person or property of... If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more like it, subscribe to my channel. Let me get a like down here so YouTube will know what's going on. And hit that notification bell also. And I mean, leave a comment too. Alright?
Life completely fucked. New York Stock Exchange, instantly your numbers drop. Souls that remain, depression is great. They go berserk, expecting it to stay the same, knowing that it'll